Today is the first episode of the second season of the last meeting of the week. I didn't have any plan of breaking the podcast into seasons, but it made a lot of sense to do it when I realized that I was able to implement a lot of changes. When I closed the first season end of July with Adrian Batisby, shout out to him. I was talking to David. Welcome, David. So outside of camera, we have David Holmberg. Did I say that correctly? Yes. Which is the new producer of the last meeting of the week. And he's the wizard that did a few changes that made me feel so happy a couple of days ago in terms of camera angles, colors, even some sponsors. We're gonna have some sponsors for this year. So I started talking to him, and then the possibilities of what this podcast can become just became multiplied in my head, and again I'm like a little kid. So today is the first episode of the second season. We have slightly new studio. We have some art pieces coming into the walls. They should be here today, but they're not here yet. I'll explain to you why later. We have a new branding package coming for the podcast, done professionally, not by me, but just by Xavi Onrubia. Shout out to him as well from Neo Retro Future, and a whole new communication thing. But the most important, and let's stop talking about organizational stuff, is the guest in front of me, Carla Martinesi. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I am very curious about you, and I am very thankful to Serendipity because of the fact that you're here. I knew about you via conversation with Carmen Salame, so shout out to her as well. I met up with her in Soho House, I think back in June, and she was explaining to me, her project of the podcast of Hong Kong business owners, and she just gave me a couple of examples about guests that she had in her show, and she mentioned you. I think she was actually, you were the most recent episode she had recorded at the time. And then I became in love with the idea of what you're doing. And I said, I need to talk to Carla. And then by listening to the podcast itself, you became someone that I really wanted to spend a little time and talk to you. So Carla Martinesi, first of all, now because you were speaking to my wife outside of the episode, I know that you are that the reason for your name, but it was a little bit striking to me. Carla Martinesi, you sound very Italian,
but I don't look.
But if I see you on the street, I would not think you are Italian. Switzerland, Italy, Hong Kong. What is the story? Tell us just a little bit.
So, I mean, I'm lucky I have a video. My hair is really curly, and I'm 180 centimeters tall, so I'm close to Italian. But I was originally born in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is from here. She's local. She was actually born in Macau, but she was raised in Hong Kong, and her parents are from Hong Kong. And my dad is a true born and bled Italian. He was born in Rome. His family's from the south. My grandparents are from the south. Like, we have an entire generation from the south of Italy. And he landed a job in Hong Kong, so he basically came to Hong Kong. But before that, he immigrated to Switzerland when he was 18.
Okay.
And he spent most of his life in Switzerland studying. He was doing engineering. I think it was quite similar to you.
Yeah.
And he loved it. He traveled around the world with his first engineering job. He went to Spain, he went to Brazil, he learned all these languages, and he had never been to Asia, and he landed a job at Nestle, and they asked to send him to Hong Kong. He said, yes.
Sure.
Let's do it. And he came here. He met his now wife, my mom, in the office. They had an office romance. But he got transferred, and he got transferred to Israel.
Okay, wow.
And he was heartbroken. He was thinking, how am I going to do this? I love this woman. And come with me. And they got married. They moved to Israel. They had me, but I wasn't born there because, as you know, being born in Israel complicates your life a little bit.
So that was actually the thought process.
That was the thought process. She said, I'll take a plane. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'll take a plane to Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's crazy because my kid and the one coming, they're both going to be born in Hong Kong, and I always say it is extremely cool for someone to have in the passport born in Hong Kong, especially if you are not from here.
Yeah, true.
But then if you are born in Tel Aviv and you need to go to Dubai or to Doha, maybe that doesn't help.
But also, I have to go to the army. Because I'm a
2
woman.
2 years. No, you're a woman, so
It's
2 years.
mandatory. Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah,
I think she made the right call.
yeah.
She said she struggled on the plane, but I think in her mind she was like, I can't have a daughter go to the army and I have to go home.
Yeah, and at the time, maybe they would. Maybe now she wouldn't be allowed to fly at 8 months pregnant.
And I mean, this was back in the 90s. I think things have changed a lot. But my dad was an expat, so we had to move countries every 3 years afterwards. So I lived in 8 countries because we got transferred so many times. And the home base of Nestle is in Switzerland. So the country that I lived in the most, so the most amount of years, was Switzerland. The most amount of school education was in Switzerland, but in reality, I think it must have been only 7 years of my life.
Okay. So you did Israel a bit.
UAE, so Dubai.
Okay.
Russia, Moscow in 2003.
So are we going chronologically?
No, this is random.
Okay.
Do you want it chronologically?
No. I'm just asking because I wonder where was the place that you remember first, because I imagine you don't remember anything about Israel. You were so
vague.
tiny.
Yeah, it was very vague. Dubai, I remember a few bits and bobs, like big, like weird moments, like interacting with the building guard, like really weird bits and pieces. The earliest I remember was Russia. I think I must have been 6 years old, and that's what I remember. I remember like all the birthday parties, like I remember the school play, like I remember so many things. And then we went back to Switzerland. We had to wait for our notice of where we will be next and for how long. So you don't know until you go back to Switzerland to home base.
Yeah.
And then they inform you, okay, your next stop is Italy.
Oh, wow.
So they don't, I think it's changed now, but this was in the olden expat package, and they wouldn't tell you until like you were face to face. And then they said, okay, actually you're here for 6 years. Oh, you're here for 3 years. And you don't know. So what happened was, and very often we would go back to home base in Switzerland and mom thought it was going to be 2 weeks. It ended up being 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So, you're in this weird like space. Like she described it as being in a really weird, like, period where she's like, I don't know if I should register you for school. Like, do we get a car?
You need to have a lot of mind flexibility to deal with that.
But that's what I really admire about my parents. They were incredibly adaptive. Like, they were so quick at changing course and quick on their feet. And like, I think that's something that I like really admired from both of them, is they were so quick to be like, plans changed, we're doing this now. Like, everyone's on board.
I think it takes for sure a toll, but at the same time, it's a very good philosophy just to walk through life.
Yeah.
Because life throws stuff at you. See, I was about to swear. Stuff at you, and you just need to handle it. And if you are used to a very comfortable life all the time, then you have a panic attack. And then if you just play by ear, you just kind of go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you still have relationships in all of these places?
Yeah. So my dad, he naturalized as Swiss. So he's Swiss and Italian. Me and my sibling were both Swiss and Italian. We have the Hong Kong ID card. Obviously, we were born here. Mom is from here. I go back almost every year. So I try to do a trip, like a big Europe trip. You know, when you're in Asia, you have to do a big Europe trip because it's such an effort to go all the way back.
Yeah.
So I try to do, 2 trips where it's like Switzerland, and then I go down to Brindisi in the south. But it's hard, I think. When you're so far away, it's hard to plan,
Yes. Look, I'm 37 and I have been living very far from home for a very long time. And only recently I started feeling my heart at peace with the fact that I had to move in and out, being so excited to go back, being sometimes a little bit disappointed because the expectations are so high,
Yes.
and then suddenly being heartbroken
Oh.
regularly because you need to leave.
Yes.
But at the same time, feeling happy that you're away. So it's when it's like a very long puberty that then when you finish you really feel like an adult. And now I tell you, now finally at 37, almost with 2 kids, now I can go to a place and I don't feel maybe I'm becoming a little bit of a sociopath, but I just go there, enjoy. It's time to leave, fine. It's time to come back, fine. You just learn to do things. Apart from the places, I woke up this morning to a story from you that also made me very curious. You had a career as a photographer.
Oh.
How many careers did you have, Carla?
That was quite funny.
So for context, so let's say just to give context to the audience, some publication is using today in one of the news that happened. I mean, recently, a picture that you took how long ago?
Oh my God, that photo! That's what was so funny about that post. That photo was taken. So I dropped out of uni and I went on a break to Portugal.
Okay.
With my friend, and that must have been 2016.
Okay.
So what happened was I was really broke at university. I mean, broke like
everyone is broke at university, even if you go to a private school.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I mean, even if you are privileged to live in an apartment by yourself, you still have.
You're still like your wallet is still empty.
I consider myself to be like extremely privileged. I lived with 300 euro a month in Madrid, which I don't even. That was for food, fun, and transport.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to be like this at that time. So
Yeah,
you were broke in the university.
I mean, I think you're right. I think it's not like, I don't know if broke is the right term. Obviously, my parents covered like my school fees. I had a place to live. There was a roof over my head. I wasn't homeless. Like I was broke in the sense that at the end of the month, like maybe a week before the end of the month, I had no money. Like, and I wasn't doing things that like took up all my money. I just like didn't have that much to begin with. So
yeah.
So I thought, and I went to a private school, a private university, and I was in classes with people who were princes or like their parents were conglomerates. Like we had kids from this was in Switzerland, and we had kids in Hong Kong who were, they had apartments at the Peak, and I was Googling like, what is the Peak? Like, because I had never heard. And I was like, oh no, in context, I'm super broke.
Yeah.
And so my plan was I need to try and make money fast. And this is 2015. There's not that many options that you can waitress, and stuff. And someone told me the most amount of money they ever made was taking nightclub photography photos. And in 1 hour, they made something like 1,000 francs. And I thought, oh my God.
1,000 francs?
Yeah.
That's how
it's like, it's almost 1-to-1 with euros, I think.
Yeah, I thought
like
so.
1,000
euro?
And I was thinking, I've never seen 1,000 euros in my life.
Yeah,
how hard is nightclub photography? So I
Yeah.
Googled. I was like, how much is a camera? A camera was 2,000 euros. 2,000 euros that I bought secondhand from a guy who was older than me in my year. And I said, okay, 2,000 euros. Okay, now I just need to find the job. And I went to all the clubs that all my friends went to, and I didn't drink. And I spoke to the managers. I said, hey, do you need a camera? Do you need someone to take photos? And he was like, oh, no, we usually use this service. And I said, I can undercut you. I can do it for cheaper. And in about 6 months, I managed to save up for a car. And I was like, oh, my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So I had to learn all these weird, like, nightclub photography skills, because it's so dark in there.
Yeah.
And there's smoke and glitter and firework. Like, there's so much stuff going on. You have to, like, adjust your camera to so many things. It's not like being in the park and you take a photo. It is sunshine. So I did that for a while, and that helped me a lot through my first year. I think it was my second year at uni, and it was quite fun. I got like loads of free drinks. I got sponsored by Red Bull.
Nice.
So I had like these massive 24 crate things in my car just to like keep me going through the night. And then I found like that because my bachelor was in hospitality, that I wanted to go into hospitality and F&B and hotels. Something that could advance getting a job is working in those places.
Yeah.
So I took every job that I could find, and there were these student postings, like, oh, we're looking for a waitress, we're looking for a bartender. So I did all those jobs, but it didn't pay nearly as much as the club photography. So I did that. And then during COVID, when I had quit my job because I wanted to start Chomp, I had to still pay bills, right? I still had to pay rent, and I still had to pay for food, and I didn't have a full-time job, and I quit because I thought COVID was temporary.
Everyone did. Yeah, I thought it was going to be maximum 2 months. And I said to Katerina, this is going to be the greatest vacation ever.
Oh, same.
Yeah, I was super happy at the beginning.
My mom went through SARS. She was like, it's going to be 3 months. Don't worry about it. I said, okay, Mom, I trust you.
Yeah, we never saw that coming.
No. And so I was like, okay, what can I do? And I was trying to waitress and do all these bartending jobs, but obviously F&B was a sinking hole.
Yes.
And so then I said, okay, I'll just do photography. So I did some freelance photography. I did some jobs for Food Panda. I did some jobs for some brands just to like pay. But yeah, so.
But now, but we fast forwarded to Hong Kong, and that was one question that I wanted to ask you, because understanding that you are an international human being, and that you chose to come to Hong Kong not so long ago. We're talking about 2020?
2019.
2019. Yeah, we moved here at the same time. So that was pre-protest?
No, I moved here the summer of the protests.
Oh.
So that was like bang in the middle.
Yeah.
But you came before.
I came in February.
That must have been weird as well.
Yeah, look, I always I thought for the longest time I was jinxed, because before here I lived 3 years in Thailand,
wow.
and the day I finally boarded the airplane with my last suitcases, I had been moving in the span of 4 months. Katerina was already in Bangkok, and she sent me a text saying the king died that very same day. So that started 1 year of mourning, of TV in black and white,
yes.
everyone dressed in black. I don't know if you've heard about this, but in Thailand, like, everyone was dressed in black for a year. That, I mean, it was like some dystopic type of shit. Stuff.
And that was your first year.
That was my first year, and then I moved here. And Hong Kong was a city that I really want. I was in love with Hong Kong. I wanted to move to Hong Kong. I was, so we moved here February. Probably was January, and then 4 months into the experience, people start going crazy, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah.
So what the hell was wrong with you? Why out of all of these countries did you choose to Hong Kong? Is it something family related, or what was the driving factor?
I mean, the nice answer is I wanted to be back home. I wanted to learn Cantonese again, and I knew it a little bit growing up. Mom used to speak to us in Cantonese, but it was so garbage. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to learn an Asian language in Europe.
No.
It's the most useless thing. There's nobody you can talk to. The majority of my life was in a small village in Switzerland. Nobody was Asian, and then let alone Cantonese. So the nice answer is I wanted to come back.
So you moved to Hong Kong and you started working. I remember from listening to the podcast of Carmen's podcast. You started working as an intern in a Michelin star restaurant.
No, so sorry, the timeline's a little bit mixed there. So what happened was, during my bachelor, you have to do 2 mandatory internships, and the internships are 6 months long. You can choose to extend it. So I did 7 months, but the first internship, that was 2015, I chose to work at the Upper House. It's not supposed to be. It is the best hotel in Hong Kong. I mean, there's Rosewood, but I honestly think Upper House is superior. And I worked there under Cafe Grey Deluxe, which has now been rebranded. So that was about 6 months. And then I went back to school. Then I dropped out of school. Then I went to another school. After 6 months, you have this period in your life. You're like, I don't know what to do. Who will I be? I ended up going back to school. I had to finish my bachelor somehow. And then after that, I moved back here, and then I got a job in in advertising and marketing. So that's the timeline. But I was in Hong Kong before I decided to move here permanently. So you're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank for clearing my mistake. So then you're in marketing,
Yeah.
but you have the memories from how the food industry works,
Yes.
and that is pushing you. That gives you the idea to create something, which is what occupies you today.
Yes.
Uh, I always wonder, how is the process of, how is the inception of the idea? Like when do you start being bothered by a fact, and then suddenly, what's the moment? Is there an aha, an eureka situation in which you say, I'm just gonna do this,
Yeah.
and then you start connecting the dots? Is it something organic? How does that happen?
I don't know if it happened the same for you, but for me it was something that just bothered me for so long.
Yeah.
Like it was, especially when I moved here in 2019. I had moved here from Switzerland, and it's considered so sustainable. We have like public composting, like you can go buy food without plastic, like it's so normal. There's a garbage schedule, like you get taxed on how much waste you produce, like there's a system.
Yes.
Everything's clean.
Just for context, because we know what we're talking about, but we haven't mentioned
sorry.
it in the show. So Carla is the founder and CEO of Chomp, which is a platform accessible to customers via an app on your phone.
Yep.
That allows for restaurants, pastry shops. Now you even mentioned florist retailers. We're going to talk about that later. To offer to the clients at a heavy discount produce that is going to be thrown away. And that solves a lot of stuff. Just to educate myself, I just wanted to put in context what we're talking about. So the 1/3 of all food produced is thrown away.
Yeah.
I was mind blown. Like
There's
1/3.
There's so many bad
But
numbers.
1/3 is crazy. And then I mean the breakup of that number.
Look
Like
at these notes.
no, I have all these notes. Okay. Consumer level is 40% of that 1/3.
Yes.
Which is insane. So even if she's actually trying to solve the distribution and retail, which is 10%.
Yes.
So, but still, people can do a lot of stuff at home if we shop correctly and we don't like. If we don't go to the supermarket hungry, we could solve a lot of stuff.
That's a big one. That's
yeah.
a big one.
But then upstream we have a lot of problems in production, in post harvesting, and the processing and packaging. This is insane. 1/3 of the world production is crazy. And to be frank, I mentioned it I think to both of you when I spoke with you and when I told David that I wanted to talk to you, which is the fact that I am probably the least self-righteous person. I don't do virtual signaling. I am not, because I'm not an activist. I just don't have the time. I have a lot of things going on in my life. And selfishly, I choose not to embark into any humanitarian battles. But it just feels wrong to throw stuff away. It's impolite, and it's bad karma. Just
no. I actually think so. The reason why I started Chomp is because people like you are exactly that. It's too much effort. It's so expensive. It's out of your way. It's so complicated. So the app is simple. It's dead simple, and it's made because there's more people like you than there are people like me.
100%.
So
no.
I have to solve your problem.
There is no. I thank you for this. And I jumped and thanks to you, I not only do the right thing a little bit more often than before, but I also eat a lot of discounted brisket. I will shout out to Smoke and Barrels. This is so nice.
I had that last night.
Yeah,
it's
fantastic.
I have a photo. Yeah,
I love that. So so Chomp makes available for people to access this food and to avoid for this waste to be thrown away and end up in landfills or whatever. So this was just go back to your story. Sorry, but we needed to put some context.
Okay.
There was something that was bothering you all the time. Then when do you wake up one day and say, okay, I have the solution?
So I think it had been bothering me for a while. Like I said, like when I was trying to make money during university, I worked all these random jobs, and food waste was always like in every scenario. Like no matter the job, there was always some form of food waste. Like I worked as a barista in Hong Kong, and the pastries were waste. The milk was waste. Then I worked at the Upper House. There was a little bit of waste there from afternoon tea set with the pastries, things like that. There was waste when I worked as an ice cream vendor. Like, there was always some form of waste. It was crazy. Like, no matter what the job was, within F&B, there was always some waste. And when we studied at school, like food and beverage cost control, the teacher was saying, you just have to add this number to the bottom line because there will always be a loss.
Yeah.
I was thinking, this is crazy. We're talking about real businesses that are running, and they have to account that there will be some lost cost because of food waste.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't you try and solve it so that you don't have this wasted expense?
Do they, how many of those F&B businesses use this waste to enhance their public, let's say, their public persona? Because I would imagine if I was a hotel, I would take all of that waste, just spend some money, pay some photographers and videographers, make a huge, let's say, charity foundation, and just at least do some good and get some good PR in exchange. How many people do that?
I don't know the number, but there's more and more. Like, there are multiple ways of getting rid of food waste, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of data that you can check, like data analytics predictions, so you know how many people are coming in. But post-COVID, it's been incredibly difficult to predict. The data is gone. Like, you have to start over. And then you also have things like donate it to charity. You have things like giving it to your staff. You know, there's so many ways that you can like reduce your waste, but I think it's still at the back of people's mind, and it's really difficult to address something that a lot of people don't see. Like, if we eat at a restaurant, we don't see it. We would never ask the business what happens to it.
Yep.
Like, why would you? So Chomp, basically, it was a group of us from uni. So we all studied the same bachelor, hospitality, F&B. And we were sitting around my dining table. This is 2019. There was a protest going on. We couldn't go anywhere. And I had a bottle of wine, and I was drinking with my friends. And we were thinking, what is the future of F&B in Hong Kong? What is going to happen? There are protests going on. We can't even go out for dinner. Not that that mattered in the context, but just like the hypothetical. COVID was around the corner, which we didn't see coming. Like, what is going to happen? These businesses are suffering. And then my friend goes, if only there was a way that we could like get this food. Like, I'm sure there's so much food that's left over. And I was like, if only there was a way. And then I like, this stuck in the back of my mind for maybe a year. And then fast forward mid 2020 during COVID, I thought, this has been on the back of my mind for 1 year. It's getting annoying now. And so I decided to try and do something about it. But yeah, I think it was more like an itch that just like was in the back. Like,
it had to be an important one, because converting that into a business takes a lot of effort. I always say, if to someone that wants to start a business, think about the problems that you think you're gonna have, list them, count them, and then multiply that by 4. And that's the number of problems you're gonna really have. Let's talk about some of those problems, because then you have an idea. Now you have to build a way to interact with the customers.
Yeah.
You need to get customers.
Yeah.
You need to get restaurants.
Yeah.
And you need money to fund all of that.
Yeah.
So what was the most difficult to accomplish?
Like, all of it. I think the hardest was like me being so naive and thinking exactly what you said. It's only a couple of problems. Like, I've handled problems before.
It's not you that you are naive. I'm saying this not because I knew it before, because when I opened my company in 2019, I thought everything was gonna be downhill. I had a great idea. My business was not innovative. I was just gonna do something that had been done before. Yeah. Just better. That was my idea.
It works.
And then I said, "Oh my God, why did I pursue this path?" So no. I think naivety is what allows you to do something. Otherwise, you would never do it.
No, I agree. You can't go back and change it. I think it happened the path that it happened. But I think there were so many challenges. I can't even pick one. I've been asked this question before. I couldn't even pick one challenge. I think every part was challenging.
Okay.
it was difficult.
Let me ask detailed questions then.
Sure.
So so let's say you have an idea. What do you do first? Do you put money from your pocket, or do you go and get money from from someone else?
Way before. You have to start with a business plan.
Yes.
Like, what the hell are the logistics to this? Like, how are people going to do this? Okay, I have no information on anybody. I've just arrived in Hong Kong since 2015. Last time I was here, it was 6 months and I was an intern, so it doesn't really count. Let's start over. Let's get some data. Are people going to be interested in this? Because if no one's interested, why the hell are we doing it? So we start collecting 200 people surveys. People say, yes, I'm interested. I go back and get discount food. I go for the yellow stickers at M&S. And I was like, okay, there's a market. Okay, what are the logistics? Like, is it going to be a book? So the original plan was it's going to be a book. Every restaurant's going to have this. Just me saying it out loud, you can tell how stupid the idea was. But you have to go through like the stupid idea before you get to like the plan. So it's a book. Every restaurant has a book, and they log how much food they have left over. People can come by it and they can write that they picked it up. Why on earth it started as a book, I don't know, but we started that way. Then we thought, okay, we will ask them to put the money aside for the discounted food, and we will go and collect the cash. Also doesn't work, because why the hell would they trust us? They would just keep the cash, or they lie and say, we made no sales, and they keep the cash.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We need some sort of protection here. Okay, how about a website? So we did the 200 people survey. Would you be interested in a website? Does the website work on the mobile phone? Yes, but it's like a mini website. No, that's a shit idea. And, and then I thought, okay, fine, we'll try and do an app. It's basically a mini version. So we do the app. Everyone says we love the app. Fine, no, we have to do an app. So then I start looking how to make an app. I studied F&B. I worked as a photographer. I know nothing about tech. I know nothing about coding. And I thought, okay, I'm going to call my younger sibling. They studied computer science. I'm just going to call them, see where we're at. Maybe it's easier than I think. And I call Sari, and Sari's like, are you crazy? It's so expensive. Like, this is the worst idea. And I was like, okay, let's try again. Maybe the website works better. And then we realized nobody wants to use the website. We didn't make it, but we asked all these people. Nobody wanted to use it. Fine, we have to make the app. We make the app. We try to plan the logistics. So I worked as a graphic designer in New York just for 6 months. It was an internship. But I learned AI and Photoshop and all this stuff. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to do a mock-up. I'll just do a quick mock-up. We had a PowerPoint presentation. We went to 20 restaurants. Here's what the app will look like. I had no idea how I was going to build this app. I had no idea who to call. Like, I didn't even know there were app agencies. I didn't even know that. I was like with this PowerPoint, like, hey, would you be interested in this? Do you have a food waste problem? Like, here's what the app would look like. If you're interested, we go ahead. They said, how long would the app take? Like a month? I said, maybe a year, maybe 6 months. And they said, I guess we could wait that long. I mean, sure. So we got 20 restaurant signups. We had 200 people who were interested. I had some sort of branding because I did some quick graphic and stuff. The branding still stands today. And I did a quick mock-up on Photoshop. And then I Googled how to build an app again. Which one's the app agency? I interviewed 6 agencies. This is what we used to do in advertising. I interviewed 6 agencies. And I got 6 quotes. So, okay, this is the money we need. We need $500K. That's it. I'm not paying myself a salary. I was working with some friends. I was not paying them. They were not asking for money. Okay. Actually, the startup thing is easy. We just need $500K.
What currency are we talking about?
Hong Kong dollars.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot of money. I was thinking, how on earth am I going to find $500K? But in context of euros, it's not crazy. Like, it's not a crazy thing. So I said, okay, fine. So I started asking loads of friends and families, because a lot of their families had like family offices, and we put together a pool of only $100K.
Okay.
I said, oh my God, we're never going to make it. And so I was negotiating with the app team. Hey, like, we cut this feature. Like, let's only make 5 screens instead of 20 that I thought. Tech. I will do the graphics so you can cut your UI UX designer. Negotiate. Finally, he goes, I can do 150K. Okay, we just need another 50K. Okay, so I go back and I'm like, okay, 50K. No. Finally, we start. Okay, we got it. let's do it. So we pay, we start the process, we start planning, and then I realize, actually, this thing is taking so much time of my day. It's taking so much time. How am I working part-time and doing this? I was working through nights. I was pulling like overnight hours, and I don't drink coffee, so it was incredibly difficult. And then I was thinking, this has got to be, there's got to be some like light at the end of the tunnel, because this is fucking hell. Like, I cannot deal with this.
Where do you find the drive to pull those all-nighters, to do that effort for something that is a dream?
Because we borrowed money. We borrowed people's money. I was like, people are expecting this. Like, if we give up now, it's going to be a waste and people are going to come after me. I don't know. Like, yeah, they're friends, families, but like, they know who I am. I'm not a stranger. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, there's pressure. Like, and so I'm like trying to sort this out. We finally make a mock-up. We launch it. And we had 20 restaurants on board. We had the 200 people. We start getting orders from day one. We're like, okay, that's it. We did it. Okay, it's over. Now we just let the app go.
And restaurants were open to...
They were.
Okay.
It was so nice, because a lot of them, I think they were willing to try.
Okay.
Now it's a little bit harder, because a lot of them decline. They're like, oh, we don't have a food waste problem. Like, what's this left over? It's not really waste. Like, we just have to throw it away. Okay, so yeah, it is waste. But at the beginning, it seemed so simple. Like once the app launched, we thought, okay, job is finished. Actually, you have to update. You have to get more restaurants.
Sure.
You have to put marketing. You got to start hiring people. And I was like, oh my god.
I have to say, you did a good job. I was a little bit how to say, skeptical, because my experience with not so famous apps is not always positive.
Yeah.
There is an app I cannot remember, which is a proof of how bad it worked. During COVID, I was doing some videos with some friends, and actually I had lost a drone that my brother gave me as a gift one time. I fell on a river, and I wanted some drone shots. So I found this app in which people could rent their equipment for a few hours, for a few days. It was awesome. The idea was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know the economics of it, but the idea was awesome. But the UX was terrible. So after the level of expectations for UX is so high right now that if you are not there, you don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I think you guys are fine. I had like I did it a few times with Chomp, and the the experience was seamless. There was no glitch. There was no. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So no, because I wouldn't even know where to start if I wanted to do it. So no, very nice. I think it's you have my admiration. How many more people share my admiration? How many clients do you have now?
We have 50,000 users.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a really good journey. Like it's been really fruitful. It's been so great. We have over 250 restaurants. Long way from those original 20. And some notable names that I can't even believe we have is Kowloon Shangri-La. We work with Maxime's.
Yeah.
We work with the Baker and the Bottoman, which is our most popular bakery in Wanchai. They're under Organic. And yeah, it's just been like crazy. We just onboarded Treehouse yesterday, if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Treehouse, we have Alice Pizza that... Yeah, just...
I know, I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it,
been
but
a
I saw it on, I think, on Instagram. Can
yeah,
that be?
yeah.
But when I went to check, they had at that moment no leftovers, which was a little bit disappointing. I guess they wait until the end of the shift.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's super cool. It's super
been
cool.
Good. Yeah, we have an amazing team. I can't take all the credit. The team has just been like, we're a team of 3.
Okay.
And they've been so on top of it. Like, I think they really understand the mission, and just like, they're so independent. They go their own way. They like know what to do. We have, I've hired my younger siblings. Sorry, do you remember the first phone call where they were like, don't do it? And I ended up hiring them 2 years ago. So they're the project manager for the app. So they handle everything tech related, operations for that. And it's been so good, because I don't need to worry about that, because it's not my thing. And then we have Leanne, who does our sales and business development. So she goes and gets all the restaurants on board, and it's been so great. Like, yeah.
Very nice. Well, you mentioned on the other podcast the fact that one of the most difficult thing is to make sure that the quality, not only the UX by Chomp, but also how the restaurant treats the end customer is.
Yes.
So you need to rely on mystery shoppers. Are those part of your team, or there are people that, let's say, work part time with you? How do you handle
No.
that? If you can share the secret.
The secret is they're my friends.
Aha.
I think I was saying earlier to you and you and your wife that after all these countries, it's I learned so much about how to keep friends, how to maintain friends, how to make friends and keep them. And I'm so grateful to the friends that I've made here. A lot of them are from my university, from Switzerland, and they're still here. And I pay their orders. And they go and they give me feedback and they tell me. And sometimes I'll post it on my story saying, hey, is anyone free? And I need some mystery shoppers. And then they'll DM their order. I'll refund it. And then
That's super nice.
But I think I trust them enough that and we have the type of friendship where they'll be honest. They've given me bad feedback. They've given me good feedback. Like, I trust them more than I would trust like a complete stranger that I pay their salary.
Yeah.
And they are going to give me most of the time good feedback because you pay do you know what I mean? Like, you pay
I think it's a
them.
good observation.
Yeah.
There is a distortion of the feedback if there is interest in continuing on getting paid.
Yes.
I think that always you should report to someone that doesn't pay you. And I tell you by
Yes.
experience, because you tend even if your intentions are so good, the instinct of survival kicks in.
Agreed.
So I think it's a very good observation.
Yeah. It's definitely not scalable because I don't have like an infinite number of friends.
But I'm sure you will find a solution about scalability, and we'll get to that later. There is something that I am very interested about, and you mentioned before about people that maybe didn't follow, didn't buy your idea at the beginning, and now they came around.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult things when you're starting something is like walking on a very thin line between two buildings.
Yeah.
Is that you really are insecure? I mean, I'm not putting. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm talking about my experience.
Yeah.
You are always thinking, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Should I quit? Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah.
Can you share with us some of those moments that made you feel a little bit uneasy?
Like, I think there were so many moments. I think you're prepared like for what you're going to have to face. I think, as you mentioned, like when you start a business, you have a list of things that are going to go wrong, like cons. Like, it could be anything. It could be things that are going to be really difficult. And I think what you don't prepare for is the reality that it's not so copy and paste. Like, yes, every startup is going to have the same base of problems, but there are other issues that come on top. For example, if you're a woman, you get different issues compared to if you're a male founder, a male founder. You're going to have a little bit more biases towards you. You're going to have a few more added words towards you. So there's a little bit difference. Now, you add things like person of color. It's going to be a thinner funnel, right? It's going to get another layer to this. Then you add things like under the age of 30, under the age of 20. Then it starts. I mean, I was not under the age of 20, but I have founders who started businesses when they were 18, 19. Why are you doing this? You're going to university soon, things like that. So it becomes added difficulties more and more. It's like, I've always wanted to you start something and you go, I'll never look at that. Like, people would treat me the way that they treat me normally. Like, what? I'm just another human being. The reality is everyone's got biases, and you're going to end up with face to face with somebody, like in the sales context or in a presentation context. You're going to end up in front of somebody who will have biases.
Yep.
That's the reality. This happened a lot at the beginning when we were trying to sign bigger restaurants. This is after the 20 original restaurants. So I went out and tried to sign friends of friends who were working in F&B.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to one restaurant, and I won't share it, but I went to one restaurant and I said, hey, we have this friend in common. Like, he was like, I'll buy you lunch. Like, and I was like, amazing. The food's so great. Like, congrats on the opening. And he was like, thank you so much. Tell me about your app. I said, sure. Da-da-da, the pitch. And then he goes, is it just you? And I said, no, we have a team. There's 3 of us. And he was like, but you're the founder. And I said, yeah, but there's 3 of us. Like, if anything goes wrong, I got a team behind me. And he goes, how, you were a couple years younger than me. How old are you? You must be like 20, 25 at the time. And he goes, I feel like you're going to get pregnant soon and then you'll leave this. What?
Wow.
And I was thinking, did those words just...
Yeah, especially when coming from someone that is 27.
I was like 25. I'm not having kids anytime soon.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to say.
But it was one of those moments where you're still in a pitch, you're still trying to sell something, and you're there like, oh my God, am I supposed to continue? Like, what do I do? So yeah, there's so many.
I think just to comment on that friend of a friend that was 27. I think there is a moment in life which is between 20 and 30 that is extremely dangerous because you think that you know a lot of stuff and you don't know shit.
Yeah.
I was told by a guy that was 25 during COVID. I opened my own company, COVID comes, and then suddenly all of my business plan just crumbles down. And in the meantime, my wife is having problems with her ex-company. She's pregnant, and we are in a COVID situation in a city that is quite costly.
Yeah.
So I start looking for alternatives, and I interview with this company that I'll tell you later which one it is. A friend of mine worked there. He put a nice word. I speak to the CEO. CEO is 25, 26. Yeah, has big money, big family, Hong Kong family money.
Okay.
And he tells me, I was 32 at the time. I said, you are now in your prime. Why do you want to do this? I'm like, and now with the time, I said to myself, who the fuck told you I was in my prime? By the way, the prime I think prime for anyone in career is around 50 or 55.
Yeah, I mean.
So but the thing is this, he was sure that he knew what he was talking about.
No.
So it can be the pregnant comment is so terrible. But everyone, like, people mind other people's businesses.
Yeah.
It's like just anyway. Plus there is another thing that bothers me a lot too. It's like the pregnancy thing. And again, I'm not an activist, but things piss me off. Sorry, I said I was not going to swear in this podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
You just pushed a very sensitive button. It's like everyone has a mother. Everyone's mother was pregnant at some time. It's like if we have that principle, no one would be here. So shut up. Anyway, sorry that happened to you.
The only thing I was thinking was also, if I will get pregnant soon, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, there's a team that the world continues.
Plus, Hong Kong pregnancy leave is only 14 weeks. So it's not like you're going to be gone forever.
I would have been back immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, there was multiple versions. I think that was by far the worst, but there were so many versions. And I don't know. I think you need quite thick skin already in life. And I think owning a startup, especially in trying to be innovative and trying to be different, I think you need thicker skin.
You think it made you a stronger person going through that?
Yeah, I think I was already quite strong-willed. My childhood was already full of all these messes. I think I was already quite strong-willed, and I think that didn't bother me so much in the moment. I think I was a bit shocked, but I continue with my day. Like I ended up signing him later, which was quite funny. But
history is very ironic.
Yeah, it's just a cruel joke that just keeps coming back.
No, it's nice. And I look at the end. I always believe that these struggles help you, and I know that you have big ambitions. So I think those big obstacles that you had in the past is gonna be like tiny pebbles when you walk into the future.
Always.
and I know a little bit of those ambitions, but I want to know more. Like you openly expressed your ambition to conquer the continent.
Yeah.
How soon is that going to happen? I'm very excited for that to happen, by the way.
I just did a pitch 2 weeks ago for a competition, and the feedback I got was so the next plan would have been Australia.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah, the mentality of the consumer is very
yeah. Restaurants per capita, like, there's quite a lot of things in our favor. And some of the feedback I got from this pitch competition was, why not Japan? Why not Malaysia? Why not, what was the other one? Philippines. I was thinking there's so many obstacles.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my my friend, who's also kind of my mentor. We're in completely different industries, but I look at her like a mentor. And I was telling her, like, oh my God, there's so many obstacles. Like the Philippines has so many obstacles. Thailand, for example, had so many obstacles. Language barrier, culture. Like there's so many. There's a big street food culture, and that's difficult to put on the app. In all these Asian countries, Singapore is the closest, but I think it's too small of a market. Like, there's so many things to factor in. The number of obstacles is infinite. There's so many.
Yeah.
And she was saying, this is what you said when you first started. There's so many obstacles. How will you start? And I was like, the obstacles just seem bigger. They just seem like bigger obstacles. And she's like, they seem like big obstacles in the past, but now you look back, you're like, they were so small. Like they were so easy. Like you have to keep going. You just have to go.
I hope you accomplish it. I mean, yeah, Korea maybe. No.
I was thinking.
Again, I'm becoming the one of the persons that give you advice without knowing shit.
No, but I think, but I also don't know that much either. Like I think it's impossible to know everything. Like if I went about this world being like I know everything, I would never be anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think you can take different opinions with a grain of salt. That's what I was saying to Carmen. You can take the opinions with a grain of salt, but I think too many people have a place in saying things, especially when you're starting something.
Yeah.
Like the amount of opinions are crazy.
Yes, and people they mean good.
They do, yeah.
But people think they know more than they do.
And I think every context is so different.
Yes.
Like, and you can apply this to like anything. You can apply this to like, I was speaking to my friend who's pregnant, and this might be the same for your wife, but they have an opinion on like this will be funny because she's in her second pregnancy, right? But my friend was saying like everybody has an opinion on how to do your pregnancy.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, like a man, a woman who's never been pregnant, everybody has an opinion.
And everyone has an opinion about how to let's say take care of yourself and the baby when he comes, but also they have an opinion on how to raise the baby in the first years. So when people ask me, and I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anyone, but I really don't care. People ask me, why don't you have the baby arrive in Italy or in Spain? And I say, you know how many advantages I have by being 10,000 kilometers away? Like this buffer, this firewall away from our families is so nice. Yeah. And our families are not terrible. I think they're just like any other family. But even if they mean good, when I go there, I have to explain any decision. It's like, please, let me do my stuff. I have 10,000 things to do today. Yeah. If I have to explain them to you, they're going to become 20,000.
Yes.
So just let me be.
So
I think it's good. Look, again, I think it's a process of becoming stronger and just learning how to convert opinions into white noise at times.
Yes.
Like and then keeping the antenna, because sometimes people say intelligent things, or maybe they inspire you to think about something you hadn't thought of before. Yeah. I am sure that you're gonna make it because again, I talk to a lot of people. I talk for living. I sell stuff to clients. I talk to consultants. A lot of time, supposedly super intelligent people, and you are one of the top echelon of let's say drive combined with a clear idea of where you want to go and clear idea of the fact that you don't know anything, but you will find out.
Yeah.
It's nice. Do you, just out of curiosity, do you have any support by public institutions when it comes to financing and doing all of this?
Yeah. We have a lot of support from the government. So we have government subsidies. We have grants that have helped us, like Cyberport. So yeah, it's been very helpful. And
Yeah.
with those government subsidies, we also have a lot of partnerships
Yeah.
that come out of that. So things like HKU, Nanfeng Group. So that those partnerships, they're not technically like stores on the app, but they're behind the app. So there are things like corporate workshops, joint app partnerships. So for example, if you have ever been to the Nanfeng Group mall, so like the Mills or Airside, and you have the loyalty app, you can upload your receipt of Chomp and you get points, and those points can convert to cash.
Okay.
So we have partnerships like that, like all over Hong Kong. You don't see it in the app because it's not like in the app. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like an outside thing. But those come from opening doors through like government partnerships and things like that. So it's been really helpful, especially for a small business that needs to like break into the market. So it's been good. Yeah.
I'm happy that the system works.
Thank you.
It's nice.
It's a long journey.
Yeah, Carla, I am personally gonna be cheering for you.
Thank you.
First of all, by personal interest again. I love my brisket. And most importantly, because I think that what you're doing is very nice.
Thank you.
I think that the world is going to be a better place because you will inspire a lot of people to follow ideas that create goodness and follow good principles. And also because you do it without virtue signaling, which is something that we didn't talk about. But you are extremely humble and modest and practical. So the fact that you sell this more as a service to the clients rather than, this is the right thing to do, I think is refreshing.
Thank
And you win over people like me that are older, that are a little... No, it's true. Like
you're in your prime.
Touche. Any time you want to launch something new, this is your home.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for the audience. This is going to be published on a Friday. So I hope you have a happy weekend. Did you enjoy? And then all of you subscribe to Chomp. If you don't, I get upset. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. Much love. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
All right. Sorry about that.